Oh, hey, look, the trend of Megan Facebook living in her car continues because this is apparently where I live now. Today I am sitting outside the allergist office because weed pollen or weed, whatever it is super high, and this is where I hang out with my 14-year-old. But I wanted to jump on and talk to you guys a little bit today about some questions that I've had about my anxiety stuff, and just really good questions on how you can know the difference between what is normal for teenagers and what would be more concerning in terms of how do I tell if this is normal and how do I tell if it's actually anxiety. So teenagers are moody, right? I mean, we know that. We know that they're difficult and they're hormonal and they're moody, and teenage angst is a real thing. But how do you tell the difference between what's normal teenage angst and what would be considered an issue with anxiety? So there are going to be a lot of similarities between the two. The snapping at you, or crying for no reason, or just being moody in general. Those are all very, very typical for teenagers. I mean, don't be surprised if they don't like you. Don't be surprised if they don't want to be around you. That is to be expected. So how do you know if what your teenager is dealing with is an actual anxiety issue or if they're just being a grouchy jerk? Because that can happen. And one of the best ways that I can tell you to tell the difference is to look at how long it's going on. If it's one of those things where they're grouchy and just kind of like a jerk for the night, where, maybe they cried at dinner and you ask what's wrong and they say, I don't know, and then they storm off. Teenager stuff, right? If they're crying for no reason or being real snappy or angry for a week or 2 weeks straight, then we're moving into a zone where we're saying, okay, maybe there's something else going on in here other than anxiety. Not always. Maybe it's just that you're asking questions they don't feel like answering, okay? There's also there are different ways to tell. Teenagers with anxiety will sometimes zone out. And it's almost like where they would stare off into space. It's like this disassociation thing where it's almost like they tune out because they're so overwhelmed with anxious thoughts that they just disappear for a minute. So that would be something you could look for in terms of anxiety. Obviously, panic. If you don't know how to recognize a panic attack, if you've never had one, they can be really scary. If you have had one, they're a little easier to understand. So panic attacks can happen where they might get kind of pale or sweaty. They might feel like their heart is racing. They might shake, cry. They might not even be able to respond to you because they might be so upset. Those are all symptoms of anxiety attacks, okay? And those can really present differently for everyone. I know that when I used to have anxiety attacks, I would get really bad tunnel vision. I would shake. I wouldn't be able to swallow, crying, and things like that. So if you're seeing anxiety attacks, those would not be a normal teenage thing. Anxiety, yes. Panic attacks, no. So we're looking at how long they're acting either anxious, mad, crying for no reason, having all of those symptoms. So it's really the length of time that it persists. If it's a day or two, whatever, that's normal. If it's every other day, even for a few days, that also is normal. But having it extend continuously for a week or 2 weeks, then I would say, okay, maybe we're looking at anxiety. Some other things you want to look for is that anxiety doesn't just present as, hey mom, hey dad, I really am worried about nothing, or I'm feeling scared, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling alone. It's not always like that. It can be feeling sick to their stomach. Stomach aches, digestive issues, if they're having like chronic diarrhea or chronic constipation or chronic stomach aches, those could be symptoms of anxiety. If they are excessively tired but getting lots of sleep, that can be a symptom of anxiety. If they are biting your head off and biting everyone else's head off, that can be a symptom of anxiety. If they are avoiding things that they used to like, that can be a symptom of anxiety. And if they're just doing it, like I said, it's a balancing act. But if you are questioning whether it's anxiety or it is normal teenage grouchiness, kind of dig in a little deeper. And if that's something that you feel like you need help with, I would recommend finding a counselor, finding someone who deals with anxiety. You can always contact me. I've had far too much experience with anxiety myself, but just getting someone else to talk with them. And another thing, another question I've had is, what do I do if I feel like they won't talk to me? Knowing that you're not that person for them can be really, really difficult, because I think especially as moms and dads, we have this whole mother bear, father bear thing where we feel like we need to be the one to take care of our kids, and we need to be the ones to make sure that they're communicating and really help. We want to be the one, right? We want them to come to us, but that doesn't mean we are that person to them, okay? They might have a youth pastor that they need to connect with. They might have a teacher at school they need to connect with. It might be their best friend's mom, okay? I know that stings when you're not that person for them, but when it comes to things like anxiety, depression, and those things, then that's when we need to say, who do you need? Not you need me. And ouch, right? Because that's your kid, and you want to be that person for them, but really allowing them that flexibility to say, I really need to go talk to Mr. Jones in my science class. Maybe that's your kid's person. I don't know. Whoever that person is for them, making sure that they do have someone to talk to, whether it's a counselor, a coach, or somebody that they really connect with, and allowing them that opportunity and making sure. And then, you going back and saying, hey, thank you for talking to them. Is there anything that I need to be aware of as the parent, to make sure that it's being handled and that we're making sure they get what they need? Because when push comes to shove, yes, anxiety is a wicked bitch, but it is also treatable, okay? And it is manageable, and it is something that you can move with instead of ending, okay? Because I said when I was talking about that course and my whole making peace with anxiety, it's not about stopping it forever. It's about saying, okay, I can tell that I feel anxious. I can tell that things are feeling really funky and I don't know what's up, but it doesn't feel good. What's going on? How am I feeling? And then really looking around and saying, okay, but where am I? And how do I move through this? What set me off? And how can I continue on and just say, okay, this is a temporary thing. Let it go and move through. And that is what we are working for. So parents, I want you to feel free to ask questions to me as well. I don't want you to think that I'm here just to talk to your teenagers, because I really know that I have kids with anxiety. Okay. So I feel lucky that with my past that I can kind of work through that with them. And I know not everybody has that. So please, 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 if there's someone that you need to talk with about anxiety, don't be shy about asking, because it is super duper common. It is the most common, like in terms of diagnosed mental health things. Almost everybody has it at some point. It's just that some of us ride it out for a lot longer than others. So that's what I wanted to drop in and talk with you about today, is how to tell the difference between normal teenage angst and what might be considered anxiety. And if you have any further questions, of course, as always, don't be shy about messaging me on here. If you want to keep it private, I certainly do not spread anybody else's information to anyone else, because it's none of their business. Or you can just leave a comment if you want to start a conversation with people, because this group that I have going here is very, very much for you guys to be able to connect with each other as well. And if you're dealing with things, mental health issues with your kids, come here, let's have conversations, and let's really build each other up and find ways to work with this, because that's what it's here for, and that's what I'm here for. And I think that's what I have for you today. So again, if you are interested in jumping into this course, The Path to Panic Free, it is 6 weeks. It is a lesson each week, action step each week, and then group coaching each week, where we connect and we really dig into how to make peace with anxiety, how to move through anxiety and get to the point where it's like, yeah, sometimes I'm anxious and most of the times I'm not. Registration is open until 4 o'clock on Tuesday, September 7th. So you have the weekend and Monday to ask questions and get yourself registered. And the link for that, I will post it in the comments to this video. But so you know, it is www.10000swords.com/path. Okay? All right. Thank you for catching me today. Have a fantastic Friday and a really, really great holiday weekend. I hope you get outside and enjoy this gorgeous weather we're having, as long as you're in Indiana. And if you are like out west, I hope that you have a swimming pool close by, because it looks like it is hotter than the devil out there. Take care. Bye.